What we've been talking about over the last, for the last almost 2 months now, is we've talked a lot about doing an audit of ourselves, an audit, and we did that through the DISC test, through the 5 love languages, those types of things on how we communicate. Doing an audit of our business to find out where are our deals actually coming from. A lot of times people don't know where their deals are coming from, and they always allow the market to dictate if they're gonna be successful or not. And I'm not a big fan of that, right? The reason I got into real estate was so that I could be my own boss. Well, if I'm gonna be my own boss, there's some responsibility that comes along with that, and I wanna be in charge of my business, not work a job for somebody else. I wanna be in charge of my business. So therefore, when I have an amazing month, I just talked to an agent who had a month where they made $25,000 in the month of July. I'm like, that's amazing. They get to take credit for that because they did that. Of course, my follow-up question was, what did you do to create that, right? And then we wanted to make sure that they understood. But guess what? You also have to take credit for, or responsibility for, the month when you make 0. And so that's why it's so important, and I want everybody to understand that. So we've been doing a lot of this, right? Auditing everything. What am I good when it comes to communication? What tasks or personality traits do I have that will make me successful at X so that I can do the kind of business that will bring me Y? Okay? And we've been talking about that. And then we also try to implement that with our 3 lead gen buckets. Oh, Dana, I love these markers you got me. So we have sphere of influence, we have prospecting, and we have internet leads. We talked about the pluses and minuses. We're not going to dive into that today. We talked about the pluses and minuses of all of these and how, based off of where you get your business from, you should know every lead comes from one of these buckets. Then you talk about your DISC profile and your communication style, and it will tell you which activities within each bucket, because there are multiple ways to work your sphere, multiple ways to prospect for leads, and multiple different kinds of internet leads, right? Which way are you going to be successful at? Because you'll be successful at a lot of them, and you can be. You can be successful at all of them. Which one's going to give you the highest return on your time? Because as we talked about, newer agents, your currency is time. ROT, return on your time. Everybody already knows what ROI is. We've talked about it before. Return on investment. If I spend $100 on a lead and I make $1,000 off that lead, I had a 10x ROI. Right? That's easy numbers. Those are easy numbers to calculate. But here's the most important one, the ROT. Then I find out, is the activity that I'm doing worth my, worth my time? That's what I want everyone to know. So now what we're going to talk about over the next actually couple weeks, because I can't get it all done in 1 week, because I want to make sure I go slow enough so that everybody understands it, is we are going to talk about, we do all this stuff, how do I organize it to make sure that I can do all those things that we just talked about? How can I track it? How can I convert it? All of those things. So today's call is all going to be, it's not how to convert those leads. It is going to be, how do I set up my CRM to be successful? Okay? How do I set it up? And when I say CRM, first of all, who can tell me what CRM stands for?
Client Relationship Manager.
Perfect. It is a client, thank you, Camille, client relationship management system. Okay? It means, how do I interact with my clients? Do you notice that it didn't say anything in there about lead generation tool? Okay? CRMs do not create the lead. They house the lead and give the lead a place to land. That is one big difference that I want you guys to understand. So if I have, real quick, I want 4 different CRMs. Who can give me one? Just go ahead and shout it out, throw it in the chat. Dana will catch it.
Boomtown.
KV Core.
Okay, I heard Boomtown, then I heard something else.
Lion Desk.
Lion Desk, okay?
Real Geek.
KV Core.
Real Geeks, KV Core. Okay, let's do one more.
Follow Up Boss.
Follow Up Boss. Oh, Sync. I'm surprised nobody said Sync. That's one of the big ones. right? All of these.
Command.
What's that?
Command.
Command. Yes. Oh my God. How did we forget that? Command. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It took us no time and we were like, we just vomited 7 CRMs. Okay? Now, if Boomtown can, a lot of these you can do AdWords. Brivity. Jesus.
This doesn't do it.
What's that?
Yeah.
So, isn't Brivity Ben Kinney's? I think yes. Okay, so we just named off a bunch of these. And a lot of them allow you to generate leads, right? Now you will say, oh, Boomtown generates my leads. It's not the CRM that does it, right? It's Boomtown's third party that does it. So if I get an AdWord lead into Boomtown, and we're not going to go into what the costs are. This is not that call. If I get an AdWord lead from Boomtown, and then I get an AdWord lead from Sync, and an AdWord lead from Brivity, are they the same lead? Do they do it the same way?
No,
Who says no?
I do, Darshana.
Darshana?
Yes.
Perfect. Explain the difference to me.
Well, everybody has a different business platform, so they filter the leads differently. So
Explain that to me like I'm 10 years old and I just learned what real estate is. And this goes back to knowing something enough to know it, then knowing it well enough to be able to explain it to somebody else, right? So no, I love that you're trying it. Darshana, you can be as wrong as possible. You just got to be fast about it. That's our rule. So
Okay.
explain it to me. If I said to you, hey, I'm looking to do some AdWord leads, and that's strictly all I want is just generate, I want to go through a third-party company to help me, and the CRMs will do that for me. What's the difference between the Sync, Brivity, and Boomtown?
they acquire the leads from a different sources.
Okay.
So it's
But
a
are they the
different
same
type,
kind of lead?
different type of buyers, sellers. It's just a different type of people reaching out to different companies.
So if I were to do an AdWord lead from Boomtown, an AdWord lead from Brivity, and an AdWord lead from Sync, they would be different types of leads?
They would be a different personality type of people that the people maybe because they are, I'm just guessing now.
Nope, that's okay. I love that you're willing to go down fighting though. I love it. Camille's got a question. That's great. Thank you for participating, Darshana. I love that, okay? Camille was gonna say something.
The same lead, just a different way of nurturing them. Like sometimes Boomtown will give you a warmer lead because they've done their outreach, like they've called them, and
I think they call it concierge. If you know me, you know I'm not even gonna spell that. So concierge, we're just gonna say it. Okay? So, but the lead itself was the same.
yeah.
And that's what I want you guys to understand is a lead is a lead is a lead. They are all going out and generating the same. I can go out on my own and generate an AdWord lead. I can pay Boomtown to generate an AdWord lead, or I can have Brivity or Sync do it. They all create them the same way. The difference is how, like Camille said, how we nurture or follow up with the lead. Okay? So could I create my own AdWords, generate these leads, and put them into a Google spreadsheet? Yes, I could. Could I spend money to create an AdWord, get a lead, and put it into a whiteboard at my office? Yes, I could. Right? So what I want you to understand is I don't care. I'm not here shilling for any CRM. It's like a workout plan at the gym. Use the CRM you will use. Okay? Now, do I think there are ones that are better than the others? Of course I do, because we've investigated them all. But that's not what today's call is about. It's about whatever CRM you are using, whether it is any of the ones we listed, whether it's a spreadsheet on your computer, or it is a whiteboard in your office. There is a strategy behind how do I differentiate these leads? And how do I reach out to them? Okay? And that's what I want you guys to understand, is how am I going to set up my CRM, which we have just decided a CRM can be a spreadsheet on your computer, which it was. Is there anybody out there who's using a spreadsheet for their lead gen, for their CRM? I didn't see, Dana, did anybody raise their hand? I wasn't watching. No? Okay, perfect. So everybody's using a CRM. Who in here uses Boomtown? Raise your hand. Okay, Sync. Command. Brivity. Danny's just using them all. He's like, yeah, I'm in that one too. And then what was the other one? KV Core. Somebody said that one. That must be the one they're using. Oh, yeah, a couple guys using KV Core. Okay, perfect. So here's the deal. We are big users of Boomtown. We've been using it for 2011, 10 years now. Okay, we're big users of Boomtown. We're also testing out Command. Okay? You're right, yeah, Camille's very excited about that. So what we're doing though, is we are deciding that a lead is a lead is a lead, right? I love to say irregardless, but regardless of where we get the leads, we want to put them into our CRM of choice, and we can just call it Andy's CRM for right now because it does not matter. This is how we want to divide up these leads to make sure that they are handled correctly. So this isn't how many calls do I do, how many of this, how many of that. This is not that call. This is how do I actually set up my CRM to convert the leads in a way that they need to be converted. Now, when I do this, do I care if it's a sphere of influence lead versus an internet lead versus a prospecting lead? I do not. Everybody gets treated the same. Okay? Everybody gets treated the same when they become a lead. That way, agents know when I sit down, I don't care if that came off an AdWords lead from 2 years ago or if that was their open house on Sunday. The lead gets handled correctly. Speaking of open houses, real quick, sidebar, who did an open house this past weekend? Did anybody do one? No. Oh. Uh-oh. Go ahead, unmute. Let's see it, Alan and, oh, that's Camille. Hold on. There we go. Yes, you did an open house?
Yes.
How'd it go?
Well, I actually did, well, for this one property, I did one on one particular day. And actually that was for the last weekend. And then I did another one for the same property on Thursday. Mm-hmm. I won on last Saturday. Yeah, Sunday went well. I took some of your suggestions. I did my clipboard. That actually worked out really well. Because they had that. And I thought about the contest part of it that you had suggested about maybe like if they work with you and then, at the very end, you get, $250. But I did not do that because I was doing a little bit of digging and there might be some issues with the state of Wisconsin for us. So I need to look into that to see if that is going to be okay to do or not okay to do.
Perfect. So how did the clipboard work? Did most of them come back to you then?
They did. Yep.
Perfect. And how many people came through your open house?
Oh, we had a whopping 3 couples.
Oh, whoa, you were probably overwhelmed. And of the 3 couples, how many people signed up or registered?
Yeah, but it was kind of nice because of what the information they put on the clipboard. And then of course, for them to signing, their information. So I had it at the very end, gave it to them, then they had it, but yes, it had to come back. So then we were able to have a quick conversation and just kind of review the information. And again, it gave me the opportunity to just, going over and saying specifically, like reading people's handwriting.
Yes.
And just
confirming
having a little more conversation.
What the phone number is.
Then I just gave them the material and some extra, my newsletter that I had, and let them go with that.
So did all 3 people actually fill out the information?
They did.
Perfect. So what's better, having 20 people come through and nobody fills out the information Or 3 people come through and 3 people fill out the information, right? Uh-oh, who we have here? Darshana, what'd you say?
I said 3 out of 3 is better.
3 out of 3, I love it. I love it, that's a nice job. So thank you for sharing that with me. I'm excited to hear, I actually had quite a few agents here at our office do open houses this week because of that open house training. They were all sending me snapshots of what it looked like, and they had everything set up, so it was pretty cool. So I'm excited to hear how it went for them. So perfect, thank you for sharing that with us. All right, so here are gonna be the categories and how we divide these up. Next week, I'm gonna go very slowly and give you like real life examples, and we're gonna screen share how we do this, because no matter what you're using for a CRM, we're actually in the process of making command look, shifting it around and looking exactly like how we want it to look. But because it's all about a strategy, right? What's the strategy that we're using? So I'm gonna go through the different categories and what each category means when it comes to these leads. And this is not just internet leads. This is open house. This is Aunt Susie, okay? All right, so first category, when a lead comes in, it is classified as, shocker, new. What does new mean to me? What does new mean? Is an open house typically a new lead?
You would
Probably
be
not
having
new,
contact
because I've
with
already
them.
had a chance to have a conversation with them, right? But an AdWord lead or an internet lead might be new. If somebody sent me a referral and I have not spoken to them yet, they might be new. New means no conversation yet. No combo, right? And I have not qualified them. I don't know what they want. I don't know what they're trying to do. Are they buyers? Are they sellers? Are they 3 months out? Are they 2 years out? I don't know the information. So new, everybody goes in new until I've been able to speak to them. Okay? Everybody. Now, how long should a lead stay in new?
24 hours.
24 hours. And the reason being, and again, I don't care where the lead came from, the reason being is because there are a set, and we're going to go over these next week, but there are a set of checklist items that we have to do when somebody's in new. So I do those to reach out to them, but in new, they're only there for 24 hours. Now, does everybody answer when we call them? Doesn't matter if it was a referral, somebody from the open house this weekend, or an internet lead. Do they call, or do they answer when we call them?
No.
Right, about
They
15%
screen
of
your
the time.
calls.
What's that?
They screen your calls.
They screen our calls, right. Especially if they've never spoken to us before, right? So then they go into our next one is, these are people that we have set up, right? We have set up, we've set the initial reach out, we've set them up in our CRM for success, but we still have yet to talk to them. Those are gonna be our qualified leads. Qualify. Okay? This is what we like to refer to as the 2 weeks of pain. It's not fun for you or them. You like that, Dana? It is not fun for you or them. I'm going to spend 2 weeks intentionally reaching out to these people from whatever lead source it was until I exhaust the 2 weeks. Now we have metrics for what we need to do during that 2 weeks, don't care. Like I said again, that's gonna be next week's call. But qualify is the next 2 weeks where I am going to make as many attempts as possible to reach out to them. Okay? And qualify them. What does that mean when I say I wanna qualify them? Can somebody answer that for me? Anybody?
Make sure that they have
LP
a,
Mama.
LP mom.
LP Mama, perfect. I want to LP Mama them and find out. A lot of times, I'm okay. Would I love it if they want to go see a house right then and there and we go buy it, put it under contract? Of course. I'm also okay if they're 2 years out. It's all about filling my pipeline for consistent success, right? Because I'm running a business, not working a job. If I'm working a job, I need it now. If I'm running a business, I'm trying to set it up for consistency. We've got to have that mindset. So when I'm doing this, I am trying to qualify them or LP Mama them to find out where do I place them. And now here is where the different categories where we will actually place leads. So we have qualify. What do we call it if somebody says, yeah, I'm ready to go now. I've already spoken to a lender. They're like your dream scenario, right? I'm meeting with them on Thursday to go over because we found out they have a mortgage, so we're going to list their home, all the stuff, and I have an appointment set. What category would we call that?
Hot.
Hot. Now, and the reason I'm going over this is because when I talk to agents all over the country, everybody has a different definition of hot. Okay? We do not put somebody in hot unless they meet the requirements of we have an appointment set with them. And they are ready, willing, and able to buy and or sell in the next 30 to 90 days. I have an appointment with them. They are ready, willing, and able. What do I mean by ready, willing, and able? They've spoken to a lender. I have an appointment set with them, and they are approved. Okay? They are ready to go. This is happening. It could be if they're just a buyer, when's their lease up? Maybe they're ready and willing now, but they're not able. Okay? They have to be all three. To buy and or sell 30, 90 days. But Jeff always likes to use the story. Everybody will say, oh yeah, I have a hot date. You do? What's her name? Oh, her name is Susie, right? Oh, really? When is it? Well, we haven't really set a date yet, but we're gonna go out. Is it really that hot if it's not on the calendar? So when I go through somebody's hot and I'm holding this one-on-one accountability meeting with them, and I say, and they have 7 people in their hot, the first question I ask, and Cheryl will tell me this, is when's your appointment with this person? When's the last time you met with them? Right, Cheryl?
Right.
Every single time. When did you meet with them? I haven't yet. Great. When is the meeting? And if I don't get a time set, then they're not hot yet, right? That was where we got excited to qualify them because they were nice enough to actually speak with us. And we're like, oh my God, they didn't tell me to go pound sand. I'm going to put them in here. Nope. We've got to be pickier than that, okay? If we start doing that, we have a rotten database, and our database is not worth our time. We want a database that is worth our time. Will it take me a little bit longer to fill up my database if I do it this way? Yes. Will my database be much more consistent when it comes to success if I do it this way? Absolutely. Okay? So it's always funny when I have people who just started and they just start doing internet lead days and all this kind of stuff, and they start holding open houses, and they go from like 0 in their active categories to like 100 in like 3 weeks. And I'm like, no, right? You just maybe got 100 people to actually talk to you, okay? And there's a difference here. And I don't want you to muddy the waters. Be selective about who you put in your all active. So, hot category, we talk about it. They've got to have an appointment, ready, willing, and able, buy and or sell, and 30 to 90 days. Now, what if somebody is still working on the ready, willing, and able? We don't have an appointment with them yet, and they're further out than 30 to 90 days. And maybe we do. Do I still, and I want you guys to understand this part too. Our next category is called nurture. Do I still set an appointment if somebody's further out than 30 to 90 days?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
100%. Why? Let me throw up my favorite percentage. You guys have to know this by now. I'm 78% more likely to get them to work with me if I have an appointment with them. Do I care that they're 6 months out? Opportunity is an opportunity. To be face-to-face, 7 levels of communication. There's my pyramid. What's up top? Influential, in person. Like it's screaming you in the face. Yeah, meet with them. So here's the deal. What if I get an appointment with them, they're just not ready, willing, or able yet? Do I still do the appointment? Yes. I never turn down the face-to-face appointment. Worst case scenario, they tell me they're not going to do anything for 2 years, but I got a chance to advertise myself to them for down the road and for anybody that they know who may be willing to look, buy, or sell that they can refer me to. The appointment is, one appointment for 30 minutes over coffee is better than any billboard that you want to spend money on. Any email drip that you think is so amazing that you crafted and it's gorgeous. You like printed it out and framed it, right? It is better than that. take advantage of those opportunities. So nurture is, could we have an appointment? Sure. Are they ready, willing, and able? This is no. They might be ready to do it and able to do it, but they're not willing to yet, right? And so we always call our nurture leads as 3 to 6 months out. Again, they can be buyer, they can be seller, they can be both. Nurture is 3 to 6 months out. Now, next week, I want to go into what do we actually do within each one of these categories, and I want to take it nice and slow, because I've noticed, and I even went back and watched a few of my recordings when I do this type of training, I go so fast that even I'm having trouble following because I'm trying to cram all the information into one call. So what I want to do is I want to go nice and slow this week and turn it into a 2-week training, okay? Now, can I create on my spreadsheet a hot category and a nurture category? Absolutely. These are the people that I'm going to follow up with. Now, the next one is going to be watch. Same thing. Am I willing to meet with somebody who's in watch? Yes. Are they ready, willing, and able? There's some of them, but not all 3, for whatever reason. Maybe their lease isn't up for 8 months. Maybe they don't want to move in until the summertime to change school districts. Whatever, don't care. Whatever it is for them. And how am I finding all this information out? My qualify stage. Qualify is when I get to then decide, do they go into hot, nurture, or watch? Watch is going to be 6 to 12 months out. Okay? Now I have a question. If somebody tells me they're 6 to 12 months out, and it's not based off of something concrete, like my lease or my job, is it a possibility that it changes?
Yep.
All the time. I don't know that unless I'm consistently reaching out to them, right? Consistently reaching out. And the reason we're so strict about putting people in the right categories is because then people will set what is called, and every CRM has this, and it's a to-do. Right? Oh, I have 10 leads at my nurture, and this person I'm going to call on the 13th, and this person I'm going to call on the 17th. I need to send a reminder text to this person on the 18th. Right? And it gets very confusing. So the reason what we do is each category has its own built-in to-do function. Hots, I am reaching out to and should be in constant communication with them. They are the people that I open up when I have my coffee in the morning and I say, great, what do I need to do for these guys today? Nurture is everybody I reach out every other week to them. Okay? And this is to be influential. It's not sending an email or a text message. And then watch is once a month. And my goal in watch, and what I see a mistake made over and over and over again, is I have somebody in watch, but I never move them to nurture when the time comes. They go straight from watch to hot. I need to pick up, because what happens is I did such an amazing job generating the lead. I did an amazing job qualifying the lead. And then for whatever reason, they're just always 6 to 12 months out. Well, guess what? 3 months from now, what are they? 3 months from now, they're 3 to 9 months out. They could be a nurture. And then what happens? You guys do not realize how many times this happens. Let me erase this. We have an agent who says, yeah, these leads suck. And this comes back to the person who's holding them accountable, not doing a good enough job. But yeah, I just can't, nobody's buying. And they decide that they're going to leave the team or leave the brokerage. And now I have a database full of these leads that they had generated or that we had given them. And I have an agent and I say, hey, would you like to call these leads and see if you can get anything out of their database? Their old database of leads that we had generated for them. Sure. Then inevitably, it happens every single time. They'll come to my office and they'll be like, hey, I was going through so-and-so's old leads today and I'm calling through them. And I'm like, great, you getting anything? Well, I've made about 20 calls so far and I've talked to 7 people who have bought in the last 30 days. It's because they did a great job qualifying them. They did the upfront stuff, but then they didn't want to do the stuff that actually gets them the deal. right? Everybody starts really fast like this. I love it. And then they're that, right? Well, this item here, just as important as this item here, right? It's consistent. I qualified them, I did all the hard work, but now I'm not gonna follow up when they're actually ready to buy a house? This part isn't even fun, right? Like, this is the worst part. I wanna do this part, right? So why did they go ahead and qualify them? And this is the part that really frustrates me, is they will be on their website, and I'll just sort it by people who are actually on their website. And no offense, but this is a lot of my SCs that become agents. They have a ton of clients coming back and are using their website, their CRM, to look at houses, but they bought with somebody else, or they're working with somebody else, because they did a great job setting them up on a search, following up with them, getting them set up for success, but then don't follow up with them over time, and they use a different agent. They'll reach out, the person who's following up afterwards, of course, says, hey, yeah, you know what? You used to work with Sarah Smith. She used to be with our team. I see you've been on the website a bunch. Can I help you find a home? Oh, yeah, no, I love using Sarah's website, but I'm actually working with Jim Jones. Because Sarah did not follow up. Sarah didn't do what was need to be done throughout the entire process. She just did the first part. Okay? And that's why we want to categorize everything, and not just categorize it, but then be stingy when it comes to who goes in there. All right? Now, next, after, and I apologize, I got to get a drink here. All right, so we have hot, nurture, watch, new, and qualify. That, whenever you guys hear me refer to that, that is your all active. New, qualify, hot, nurture, watch is your all active. I don't care if you're using the Cadillac of CRMs or if you're using a spreadsheet. We like to see 100 or less leads in your all active. Because what we have found is that is about, and I know 100's an easy number, it's actually a little bit less than that. It's like 85 to 87 is where we see the diminishing returns. But we say 100 because that's easier for people to remember. 100 leads in your all active is where we want it less than that, because what happens is you have too many leads, and instead of giving 100 leads the amount of time it takes to convert them, right? Now you're giving 250 leads a little bit less time, and nobody converts. I'm giving a ton of leads a little bit of time instead of a fewer amount of leads a lot of time. And it doesn't do you any good to give a bunch of leads just a little bit amount of time if it's not going to be enough to convert. Now you're just a glorified telemarketer. Who wants to be that? Right? Not me. So make sure that you keep this under here. Now everybody always wants to know, well, what's the right amount for each category? Let's talk about that. In hot, what we have found. Now, can the numbers be slightly different, higher or lower? Of course. But this is what we found. In hot, we like to see 8 to 11 leads as the most. Okay? 8 to 11 leads. Because if I go into somebody's, Shay, I know you're on here. If I go into somebody's hot category and they have like 19 people in there, I'm pretty sure that either some of those 19 shouldn't be there, or they're not handling or giving those leads the attention they need to actually convert. Kevin McGowan, our operations manager, one of his favorite things to say was, leads go to hot to die. Because in the hot category, the CRM hands off the responsibility of reaching out constantly to you, the agent, right? There's no drip for the hot category, those types of things. It's on you to be reaching out consistently. And so this is the amount we like to see. Can it be less than that? Sure. But this is the maximum amount we like to see. Now in nurture, let's see if I can get Cheryl to answer this question for me. You're on the spot, Cheryl. How many leads do I like to see as a maximum in nurture?
20.
Ah, yes. 20 to 25 leads max. Do I like to see less than that? Yes, I do. But this is the most that I like to see. And remember, nurture's about 3 to 6 months out. Watch. I like to see 40 to 45 max. And they are 6 months to a year out. Now, we start adding these up, just say 10 to make that easy, and 20 and 40, that gives me what? 70 leads in my hot nurture watch. We average on a daily basis here 28.5 leads a day. So just say 25 because we're going to be conservative. Gives me a total of 95 leads, and they're all active. And that's what I like to see. About 70 in their hot nurture and watch, and then they're working through, because they had a lead day, they're working through their new 20.
Whoa.
Somebody's sharing screens. So, this is why we want to keep those. Now, I will tell you, so people will now do this. They'll say, oh, okay, well, I'll just get my nurture up to 25, my watch up to 45, my hot up to 10 or 11, and then I'll be good. The agents who convert the best on our team and have been working this system for the longest, and I'm talking agents who have been doing it for 10 years. I'll look into theirs. They'll have 9 leads in nurture, 17 leads in watch, and about 10 to 12 in hot. They are so strict because they are not into wasting their time. They are so strict on who they allow in to nurture and watch. And I want you guys to understand that the ones who convert at a higher level have less than those numbers. That's why we just put a maximum on it. Right? Like I have an agent who did the most internet leads last year, just internet leads. This isn't even talking about everything else. He did like 50 leads total, but 24 were internet leads. And he had 9 in his nurture and like 15 in his watch. And he does that because then he only knows that when he turns around to reach out and follow up and nurture and watch these leads, he doesn't have 5 hours of leads to go through. He knows exactly who he's working with, and he knows exactly what they need as far as value. Okay? It goes back to that thing. Do I spend a little bit of time with everybody? Or do I spend a decent amount of time with only a few select people? Okay? And that's your return on time that we talked about at the beginning of the call. Now, our next categories are going to be archive. Okay? Who goes in archive? Who wants to give me an example of somebody who goes in archive?
Who already bought the house?
They already bought. They can go in archive, absolutely. Who else?
Someone who tells me to kick rocks.
Kick rock. And I love how we're all trying not to cuss. We use things like kick rocks, pound sand, right? We're trying to like, oh, I'm on a call. I got to be somewhat professional. But yes, someone who told you to do not nice things, right?
Yes.
So yes, they go to archive as well. Somebody who says they might be more than 12 months out. They're like, you know what? Absolutely. We just re-signed our lease. We're looking to do something here in about a year and a half. Whatever. My wife's going to have a baby, blah, whatever, right? They all go to archive. You are 100% correct. Who else goes to archive? It's a big group. It's a majority. It'll be the largest group that you have.
People that never respond to you?
There we go. People I have never talked to. They never answered. Met them at the open house. They never responded to me since then, right? Aunt Susie said, I swear to God, Missy Burnett wants to work with you. She's my hair lady's daughter, and she wants to buy a house, and I put Missy in there, and I've reached out 1 billion times, and I've never heard from Missy. The internet lead that never answered, and I called it 10 times and left it voicemails and emails and text messages, never talked. Archive is going to be your biggest category, and it's archive not contacted. Okay? Archive non-contacted is going to be your biggest category. And that's probably, since it's the largest, it's probably the largest or it's the largest, where the largest amount of converted leads come from. I'm going to say that again. Archive, never been contacted, will be where the highest number of your converted leads come from. Okay, I want you guys to hear that and think about that, because if you do all of those things that we're going to go in depth about next week, that is where your business bubbles up. I haven't taken an elite lead day in like 3 to 4 years. And I just work with the agents who take them now. And I still hand off 10 to 12 leads a year from the internet that are reaching back out to me that I never spoke to, that are still in my archive. And they just bubble up. I love rando emails from Mike Stevens. I'm like, who's Mike? Oh, he was a Facebook lead in 2015. And he's like, Andy, I would love it if we could go check out that. And he talks to me like we're besties. And I have no idea who Mike Stevens is. And then I got to Google him and I got to look in my CRM. And I'm like, oh, Mike came in as a Facebook lead. And I believe he responded once to one of my emails to go pound sand. But that was 4 years ago, so everything's forgotten. And I'm like, great, hand him off to another agent, they go meet Mike, they have a sale. This is where a majority of your leads are going to come from, all right? Now, does that mean we don't do all the other stuff? Of course not, right? The other stuff is more controlled and it can be consistent. But I say that because I do not want you to minimize the importance or the value of those leads, okay? All right, so now we did archive. The other two, because we have about 10 or 15 minutes here, the other two that we want to talk about are going to be pending and closed. Okay, pending is going to be anybody, obviously, who goes under contract. I don't put them under contract if they have signed a buyer's exclusive agency agreement to work with me or a listing agreement to sell with me. That is not pending. Pending is a executed purchase agreement either with the buyer or on my listing. That is pending. And for whatever reason, that is a big confusion a lot of times with agents. They do not go into pending until the property is sold, either to my buyer or my seller's property is sold. Okay? Executed contract. Then, the reason pending is going to be different for everybody, but here's the deal. And we're going to go into the details of what do I do with a lead when it goes into pending next week, but we have to make sure that once they're done with pending, we move them. Okay? We can't have them sit there because it's important that they go through the process. Next is going to be closed. But what if I just got a CRM a month ago and I've been doing real estate for 4 years? Do I put all of my past clients in my closed category? Yes, you do. You absolutely do. And we have a whole checklist of what you do, but this is anybody. I even put my champions, right? We talked about this. Who are your champions? The people who already know, like, and trust you, and as long as I teach them how to refer me, would refer me at every chance they are given and do it correctly, I put my champions in closed as well. These are the people that I focus on when I'm trying to generate business from my past client list or my sphere of influence. They become my sphere. And I put not only my past clients, but my champions in there as well. And we're going to show you through a checklist that we use. We are going to go over how this will create to-dos for you, specific to-dos based on each client for the entire year. So you can open up your email inbox and it'll say, don't forget to do X. And you can do this if you're using Google Sheets, Sisu, a CRM like whatever, right? That's the thing, is it's all about having a strategy. And why I say that is because I don't want some of you to use the excuse, well, I don't have that CRM, so I can't do that. That is untrue. You can all do this, no matter your CRM, and I don't care if it's a spreadsheet. You can all do this, so I want to take away those excuses now, okay? Is everybody should be using pending, and everybody should be using closed, as well as archive. Now, was there any category that we went over today that was not important? Even the seemingly least important one, is where most of our business comes from, right? This is our people who know, like, and trust us, easiest leads to convert. These are the people who need most of our attention right now. Hot's where our future business is coming from, or our immediate business, and nurture and watch is where we can be consistently successful. And new and qualify are what feed those. Every single, it's like, what is it? It's like having a chain. Your chain is only as strong as your weakest link, and it's true. It's absolutely true. But the problem is, too many times people like to get somebody in their hot and forget about everything else. Throw somebody in nurture or watch and be like, well, they'll let me know. And I want you to understand that after this week's call and next week's call, excuses should be out the door, and you should be able to convert a lead from any lead source. I do not care if it's SOI, prospecting, or internet. You should be able to generate them. We've gone over this. Convert them. Fill up your database so that you can have consistent success over an extended period of time. So that when January 1st rolls around and you're like, oh my God, I sold 40 houses last year. How do I recreate that? You should have been already working on recreating it the previous 12 months. Right? We do not care what month it is now. This is the month I am going to have success. What about next month? That's the month I'm going to have success too. Okay? And then if you do not, why is that? Because you didn't do the activities necessary to convert the lead generation that you did. Or you didn't do the lead generation necessary to have business to convert. Okay? What I'm trying to do, and it may sound a little bit harsh, but I'm trying to remove all excuses. But that should be liberating, right? Remove all excuses so that you are in 100% control of how successful your business is. Now, that's scary for some people who like to be able to blame the market. It's empowering for others who like to have the mindset of, oh, so I can be as successful as I want to be, and it doesn't matter what other people are doing or what the market's doing. Okay? It should be empowering, and I want you guys to understand that. All right, so we are going to, I got about 4 minutes left. We're going to stop at 12:10 today. Does anybody have any questions over anything? Next week is going to be, go ahead and raise your hand or throw something in the chat, but next week is going to be all about what do I do when I get the lead in new, and it's going to be literally like bring your notebooks, it's recorded, but it's going to be what do I do step by step to that lead while it's in new. Then what do I do with that lead when it's in qualify? Then what do I do when it's in hot, nurture, watch, archive, pending, closed? Every single category, step by step. What do I do now that I have it set up the correct way? Okay? All right, so any questions? Anybody? I didn't see anybody's hand up. Dana, did you?
Andy, is that going to be Wednesday or next Monday?
Oh God, I'm so sorry. It is Monday. It is next Monday.
Okay.
Yep. Wednesday is going to be, I'll have to look at the calendar. It's Wednesdays we are going to talk, I think it's about, we're doing expired and FSBOs for dialogue training.
Andy, this is my second session with this Zoom meeting.
Mm-hmm.
What is the time frame to follow up with the archive pending and closed, and how often should I be in touch with them?
Okay, so it's a great question. Next week we're going to go over that, but I'll give you the short version real quick. Pending, you should be in weekly, if not daily, contact with them because, right, you know what I mean? Whether it's lending, financing, appraisals, inspections, whatever it is, we're making sure that we're getting to the finish line. Closed and archive should be once a quarter or every 3 months. But good question. Hey, what's up? All right. Any other questions? Dana, anything else?
Yep.
All right, guys. Everybody have an amazing couple of days, and I will see all of you guys on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.